Good evening, everyone. Tashdalek. As always, we'll start this practice with setting up proper motivation, which consists of three parts: refuge field, bodhicitta field, and the purpose of the practice. For refuge field, I welcome you all to visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, Arya Nagarjuna, Acharya Chandrakirti, Arya Deva, Arya Manjushri, Arya Valokiteshwara, Arya Vajrapani, Bodhisattva Shantideva, and all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in front of you. And they are looking upon you with immense kindness and unconditional love, just as a mother looks upon her own child. Moving on to bodhicitta field, visualize your two kind parents seated on either side of you, mother on the left and father on the right. And you are accompanied by all dear mother sentient beings, leaving none aside. And this time you are leading them in the practice. The purpose of this session to awaken the Buddha nature within us by resorting to the ultimate remedy, which is the wisdom of emptiness, complemented by driving force of bodhicitta, the aspiration to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings, and grounded on renunciation, to renounce our miseries, all types of suffering, causes of suffering of change, and perversive conditioned suffering, and in turn based on the grounded on great compassion by removing the two mental obscurations, afflictive and cognitive obscurations. By keeping these in mind, we'll recite the prayers from page number 3. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Taking refuge and generating bodhicitta. Sangye chotang soki chonam la chanchu pardu dani kyapsu che dagi chitso gipe sonam ki tola penche sangye du parsho. Sangye chotang soki chonam la chanchu pardu dani kyapsu che dagi chitso gipe sonam ki tola penche sangye du parsho. Sangye chotan soki chonam la chanchu pardu dani gyapsu che dagi jinsogi be sonam ki dola penche sangye duparsho. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no rising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, separateness, and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, who through the knowledge of all lead hearers seeking pacification to complete peace, who through the knowledge of paths cause those helping migrators to achieve the aims of the world, and who through the possession of omniscience help subduers expound the variety of teachings. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings, the teacher, Sugatha, and protector, to you I make prostrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays, to you, the Buddha, I make prostrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. The essence of dependent origination mantra. Dipeshla will play the audio. Thank you, Dipeshla. Meaning of the Tenral Nyingpo mantra. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well is taught by the great seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration free, clear light and non-composite, such as the nectar like Dharma I have discovered. Finding no one who can fathom this teaching, in silence I will retire into the woods. Beyond utterance, thought, and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space. It is the object of realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas of the three times, I pay obeisance. Four seals of Buddha's teaching. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are of the nature of suffering. All phenomena are of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcending sorrow is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of eons. The Buddha does not wash the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of the suchness that beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all bewildered in misery's gloom. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. Today we will turn to 37 Practice of Bodhisattva by Gyaltse Thongme Sangpo. Namo Lokesh. It's on page number 139. Namo Lokeshvaraya, you see that all phenomena neither come nor go. Still you strive solely for the benefit of beings. Supreme Guru and Protector Avalokiteshvara, to you I continually bow with body, speech and mind. The perfect Buddhas, the sources of benefit and happiness, arise from practicing the genuine Dharma, which in turn depends on knowing how to practice, so I will explain the Bodhisattva practices. Now that you have obtained this precious human body, the great boat so difficult to find, in order to free yourself and others from ocean of samsara, listening, reflecting and meditating with diligence day and night is the practice of bodhisattva. Passion towards friend churns like water, hatred towards enemies burn like fire. Through the darkness of ignorance, one forgets what to adopt and what to reject. To abandon one's homeland is the practice of bodhisattva. Giving up hospitable places, mental afflictions gradually decrease. With no distraction, virtuous activities naturally increase. When mind becomes clear conviction in the Dharma is born. Therefore, seeking solitude is the practice of Bodhisattva. Friends and relatives, acquainted for long will separate. Possessions again with exertion will be left behind. Consciousness, a guest, will leave the guest house of the body. To let go of this life is the practice of a bodhisattva. When due to friendship with someone, the three poisons arise, degrading the activities of listening, reflecting, and meditating, and destroys loving kindness and compassion. To give up such a friendship is the practice of a bodhisattva. When relying on someone, your negativities diminish and your positive qualities grow like a waxing moon. To cherish such a spiritual friend more than your own body, is the practice of a bodhisattva. Themselves captives in the prison of samsara, whom can the worldly God protect? Therefore, to seek refuge in the three jewels, who do not betray you, is the practice of a bodhisattva. The suffering of the lower realms, so difficult to bear, is what the Buddha taught to be the fruit of negative actions. Therefore, even at the cost of your life, never to commit negative actions is the practice of a bodhisattva. Happiness is the three realms, like dew on a blade of grass, is subject to instantaneous fading away. To strive for the supreme state of liberation that never wavers is the practice of a bodhisattva. From beginningless time, your mothers have cherished you. If they suffer now, what good is your own happiness? Therefore, in order to liberate an infinite number of sentient beings, cultivating bodhicitta is the practice of a bodhisattva. All suffering comes from yearning for your own happiness. The perfect Buddhas are born from the intention to benefit others. Therefore, to truly exchange your own happiness for the suffering of others is the practice of a bodhisattva. Even if someone driven by excessive desire steals all your wealth or incites someone else to steal it, to dedicate to this person your body, possession, and all your virtues of the three times is the practice of a bodhisattva. If someone cuts off your head, even when you have not done the slightest wrong, through the power of compassion, to take their misdeeds upon yourself is the practice of a bodhisattva. Should someone slander you and proclaim you it in a billion words, in return with a loving heart to proclaim their good qualities is the practice of a bodhisattva. If in the midst of a crowd, someone exposes your hidden faults and abuses you for them, to bow to them with respect, seeing them as a spiritual friend is the practice of a bodhisattva. If someone whom you cherish as dearly as your own child takes you for an enemy, then like a mother who loves her sick child, to love that person even more is the practice of a bodhisattva. Okay, we'll stop here for today. So we'll recite the Heart Sutra mantra for 7 times. Tayatha om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhi swaha. Tayatha om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhi swaha. Tyatha 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 om gate gate paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Swaha. Thank you, Dipeshla.
You can hear me? Good. Taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow, and the way Tenzin Lojong indicated, let us reinforce the visualization of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in front of you, so loving, caring, embracing. And also reinforce the visualization of your two parents and all of family members and all the other sentient beings around you. And we take this aspiration Bodhisattva vow in order to activate the Buddha nature within us. So with that in mind, let's read and wholeheartedly try to invoke the respective meanings, meanwhile invoking the experiences to the best one can. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please be heed to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will regenerate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully follow the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please be heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will regenerate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully follow the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please be heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will regenerate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully follow the Bodhisattva practices. Okay, continuation from where we left last time. Vaibhashika. And Vaibhashika, the presentation is the whole system is presented in the under three main categories or three main headings: the basis, the path, and results. And under the basis, the object and the subject, that is done. And now under the path, three, the object of the path, and then the objects to be abandoned by the path, and then number three, the nature of the path. So the objects of the path, we talked about the 16 Four Noble Truths, and to go into more detail, the 16 aspects of the Four Noble Truths, with the 4 attributes assigned to each of the Four Noble Truths, making it 16. Then the objects to be abandoned, according to Vaibhashika, so exclusively from the Vaibhashika point of view, objects to be abandoned, we speak about, is about the basic idea remains the same, that our mind, that there's a treasure inside us, the treasure. For example, let's say the gold. Although the nature of the gold is to glow, but when it is mixed with the mud, it doesn't glow. So our job is to remove the mud in order to make the gold of the Buddhahood, in order to make the gold of the nirvana to manifest. So for that matter, what is that thing to be abandoned? What is that thing like the mud to be abandoned? I refer to as the objects to be abandoned by the path. So that the unique presentation of Vaibhashika is not in the form of afflictive obscurations, cognitive obscurations, so forth. They have the unique the presentation or unique terminologies. That is, what they use is the afflictive ignorance and the non-afflictive ignorance. So these are the two. What we have for the high schools as the afflictive obscurations, Vaibhashika's would call it afflictive ignorance. And then for the the cognitive obscurations, what do we have for the higher schools? Vaibhashika has the non-afflictive ignorance. So this is what we done. Now the nature of the paths. So what is that? What is that path which takes you to nirvana or to Buddhahood, whatever that is? What is that path? So generally speaking, there are 5 paths. We did not it 5 paths before. We did. Okay, 5 paths. Then together we did. Okay, good. So we talked about the 5 paths. The 5 paths, and there are the 3 vehicles. The Shravaka vehicle, Pratika Buddha vehicle, and the Mahayana vehicle. So Mahayana, there are 3. And we see that 5 paths, each one of these vehicles have the 5 paths. So 5 into 3 equals 15. This is how it is commonly presented as the 15 paths, meaning that the 5 to be followed by each of the yanas or the vehicles. Okay, now the 15 paths, and okay, this one. Now the next is that the say particularly say in all the schools, we talk about the mental defilements. There are 2 ways of removing it. One is just a temporary removal or a temporary suppression, and the other one is removing from the root. There are 2. Let us not forget this. Mental defilements can be removed in 2. One, simply suppressing it. For example, let's say that if somebody is a very short-tempered person, and then you learn about the demerit of anger, how the anger destroys all your virtues, and the benefit of compassion, how anger can actually consume your immune system. So by reflecting on these points, then the person is a little scared of the anger, and then try to subdue the anger, and then think about the counterforce, the compassion, and so forth. So we see that the person otherwise once was very short-tempered, angry person. Now the person becomes very calm, peaceful, although the person yet to follow the actual path, but the person can become very calm, peaceful. Even the NDC, some people who start to, for example, I think the NDC, the first batch, I think, yeah. I know some of the participants of the NDC first batch, they shared their personal accounts with me. It's very heart-warming, heart-touching to see the benefit of this course. How people who are otherwise very short-tempered, angry, and in the family would be creating all kind of their problems, and then after they taking part in the Nalanda Diploma course, that the person simply change the whole mindset, outlook of the world, and the person becomes very calm. That's amazing. So, but it doesn't mean that the person has actually followed the path of accumulation, preparation, seeing, meditation, normal learning. The person yet to follow this path, but the person has quelled the negative emotions like anger and the agitation, so forth. So this is it's very precious, though. It's very precious, but it doesn't mean that the person has eradicated these mental defilements such as anger from the root. So that is like the suppression, or the suppression, and the root is there, but for this person to eradicate the root is going to be easier as compared to somebody who is even yet to touch the surface. Okay, so keep in mind that remove the mental defilements is of 2 kinds. One, just a temporary suppression, and the other one, uprooting or removing it from the root. Let's not forget that. And then in terms of the 5 parts, path of accumulation, preparation, seeing, meditation, normal learning, 5 parts, the actual removal of the mental defilements, removal from the root, happens from path of seeing. So the fact that this path is known as path of seeing, the third one, path of seeing. Path of seeing means you see the reality directly. the way your eyes could see things, where your eyes could see the flowers and so forth. So likewise, you see the reality. According to Vaibhashika, it is the reality of the 16 attributes of the Four Noble Truths. So seeing them directly. And now, once you see that, then you remove the mental defilements for good. And how you do that, of course, keep in mind that the mental defilements is of two kinds. One which is acquired, and the other which is innate. And the acquired is much easier to be removed, even from the root. From the root, the one to be acquired is easier to be eradicated as compared to the innate ones. And at the part of seeing, one eradicates the acquired one, and the part of meditation, one starts to work to get rid of the innate ones. Okay, with this in mind, now let's say that you are on the part of seeing. Part of seeing, say commonly there's a presentation what is known as the 16 moments of the path of seeing. Let's not forget this path of seeing from all schools, be it Vaibhashika, Sauchandika, Chittamatra, Madhyamika. All four schools talk about what is known as the 16 moments of the path of seeing. Let's not forget this. And Vaibhashika, and of the 16 moments, they talk about only the first 15. The 16th one, they qualified that as a part of meditation, not the part of seeing. Let's not forget it. And the rest of the schools, okay, the rest of the schools, they talk about the 16 moments, all the 16 moments to be the part of seeing. And some of you may be wondering, what are the 16 moments? Okay, this is something that we have to learn. It's going to be a little technical, and simply because that I'm going to try to explain it in simple ways doesn't mean that it should be easy. It is not difficult, but at the same time it requires your active involvement, your active participation there, without which say that today you may get it, then after a while you'll forget it completely. Okay, this is the technical part, so keep that in mind. Okay, let's say these 16 moments, we speak about the 16 attributes of the Four Noble Truths. Now we are talking about the 16 moments of the path of seeing. These two are not to be seen as same, simply because these two, the number is just the same. Accidentally, the two happen to be the same number, like 16. Does not mean that oftentimes is what people do. When you speak about the four, people just relate that with the Four Noble Truths. And then 16 attributes of the Four Noble Truths. This is where we miss the technicalities. So given that you are from NDC, we should make sure that we learn all these technicalities. Okay, the 16 moments, I'm going to explain it all related to the Four Noble Truths, unlike the 16 attributes of the Four Noble Truths. Okay, although 16 attributes are also related to Four Noble Truths, and the 16 moments of part of seeing are also related to Four Noble Truths, but how they're related is going to be very different, and these two have no connection. Don't try to they connect the two and then they interpret it in one's own ways. It is totally mistaken. Okay, Four Noble Truths. Let's say the truth of suffering. First, the truth of suffering. So we have to get rid of the mental defilements. Our mental defilements are rooted to the truth of suffering, are rooted to the truth of cause of suffering, are related to the truth of the cause and truth of the cessation of suffering, are related to the truth of the path leading to cessation. Even the mental defilements, they are related. So with this, then what happens is that, okay, first I'm saying that, let's say first the truth of suffering. If you can relate the four moments related to the suffering, then we will do the exercise to relate to the cause of suffering, the truth of the cessation of suffering, and the truth of the path leading to cessation. Okay, the first, let's do with the truth of suffering. Truth of suffering, there are two kinds. Okay, on the overall samsara, we see that it's of three realms: desire realm, form realm, formless realm, three realms. And oftentimes in the presentation of the paths, you find within many in which the three realms are grouped into two: desire realm of the Lord, the desire realm, and the higher realm. Higher realm referring to the form of the formless realm. Okay, the whole samsara divided into three: desire realm, kamalok in Sanskrit, kamalok, and the form realm, rupalok, and the formless realm, arupalok. The three realms are there. And of course, for somebody to take birth in form and formless realm is not that easy. It's not easy. It must be only with somebody having a very sophisticated meditative samadhi, meditative concentration. Only with that, and that too not just simply because you have a very deep meditative samadhi. When you say very deep meditative samadhi, it's very naive, because it is like saying that, oh, this boy is very good in studies, she is very good in studies because she did so well in his education. It's so naive. So we can make this boy or girl the VC of vice chancellor of the university, because he and she they are so good in their studies when they are in the education. It's so naive. Studies, they are school level, college level, university level, postdoc level, and then you go into the professorship, and then the first assistant professor, associate professor, then the professorship. So there are so many layers there. If you just simply by saying that somebody is very good in studies doesn't mean anything. It's so naive. Whereas somebody who really knows the qualification for somebody to become vice chancellor of university, then the person will not talk like this. The person will be very precise. Oh, this person has been a professor for the last 10 years, 20 years, and this person really deserves to be the vice chancellor because this person has made such contributions in articles, books. So this and say all these qualifications are required. So likewise, say when you speak about taking birth and form in the formless realm, so then it's not just that, oh, the person has good samadhi. No, the samadhi has so many layers. This is where people are so naive when you speak about, okay, if somebody sits for retreat, like three years retreat, or even like 6 years retreat, and then, oh, this person enlightened. It's so naive. Whereas only if you study NMC, if you study the R.N. Nagarjuna's text and all these Bodhisattva paths so well, then 6 years is nothing for us. 6 years, nothing. And so we have to look at the criteria of the person, say how intelligent the person is, how otherwise the person, say the nuances and the practice, commitments, and so forth. So it's just a number, doesn't mean anything. So likewise, the meditative concentration to take birth in formless realm, it is not just simply because somebody is very good in samadhi. Doesn't mean anything. Within samadhi, there are so many layers. Okay, this is what I like to share. And of course, to go deeper into this, we have to study this separately. What are the various samadhis there? Within the form realm, there are 4 categories. And then within the formless realm, again, there are like 4 categories. So there are so many categories of the samadhis. Okay, so keeping that aside, now what I'm saying is that the universe, the whole samsara is classified into 3 groups. And the desire realm, form realm, and formless realm, 3 groups. And in many ways, oftentimes, these 2 groups are grouped into 2. The desire realm as one, and the formless come together to refer to as the higher realm, referring to the form and formless realm. Okay, higher realm, desire realm as opposed to higher realm. And so there, higher realm includes both formless 2. Now let's say the truth of suffering. Truth of suffering. when I speak about truth of suffering what? Truth of suffering of samsara is not about nirvana. Truth of suffering of samsara. And samsara can be grouped into two, form realm and the higher realm. So truth of suffering of the form realm and truth of suffering of the higher realm. Two. You're getting it? Truth of suffering of the form realm, truth of suffering of the desire realm and the truth of suffering of the higher realm. Higher realm includes form realm and formless realm both. Okay, two. Now, the truth of suffering of desire realm is much easier to be eradicated as compared to the truth of suffering of the higher realm. Let me say this again. Of the two, truth of suffering of the desire realm is way easier to be eradicated as compared to the truth of suffering of the higher realm. Okay. In other words, without this is just a little bit of digression for your information. Say, just as somebody without completing the high school, one is not entitled to join the college, generally speaking. Likewise, somebody who has not eradicated the afflictions of the desire realm, one is not entitled to take birth in the form and formless realm. You're getting it? Okay, let me say this again. Somebody without having eradicated the defilements of the desire realm, one cannot take birth in the form and formless realm. Okay, so what qualifies somebody to have eradicated the desire realm? So that requires the very specific samadhi, meditative samadhi, and the samadhi whole purpose. I don't know whether I don't share this here. Okay, whole purpose. This samadhi has its own unique ways. For example, say wisdom of the selflessness has the power to cut the afflictions from the root. And whereas the samadhi, if you meditate just the samadhi without the wisdom of the selflessness, just the samadhi, it has the power. It does not have the power to cut the afflictions from the root, but it has the power to subside the afflictions. Subside the afflictions, that the afflictions don't manifest. Okay, generally speaking. And then, of course, to go into the subtleties, the nuances, is different, more detailed discussions are required. Okay, so the samadhi, but a part of the samadhi, then the afflictions can be subsided. We call it eradicated. Eradication can happen in two ways. One simply in the form of suppression, and the other by eradicating from the root too. I mentioned this earlier. So now, what happens is that the to achieve the formless from higher realm, to take birth there, or to achieve the mindset, the full form of the mindset of the formless realm, higher realms, you need to have eradicated the afflictions of the desire realm. Likewise, within the higher realm, formless, if you have to take birth in the formless realm, you must eradicate the afflictions of the form realm. You're getting it? In other words, in order to take birth in the respective higher realms, you must get rid of the afflictions of the low realms. This is what is required. This is just a glimpse for you as to how one takes birth in the higher realms. And when we speak of the higher, there are various levels of the higher realms. Okay, so now going back to the main point, what we are saying is that the truth of suffering. Truth of suffering, there are two kinds. Truth of suffering related to the desire realm, truth of suffering related to the higher realm. So truth of suffering related to the desire afflictions. Afflictions related to the truth of suffering. Afflictions related to the truth of sufferings of the desire realm is grosser as compared to the truth of grosser as compared to the afflictions related to the truth of the suffering of the higher realms. You're getting it? Okay. So with this, what happens is that so now afflictions directed towards the, okay, first we talk about afflictions on him. Afflictions directed towards the desire realm Okay, directed towards the truth of suffering. Afflictions directed towards the truth of suffering of the desire realm. Afflictions directed towards the truth of suffering of the higher realm. 2. Okay. Now, they say that these afflictions, let's say affliction that to the acquired one, acquired afflictions directed towards the truth of suffering of the desire realm, acquired afflictions directed towards the truth of suffering of the higher realm. You got it? Okay, don't worry too much. I'm going to first let me finish this, and then I'll repeat it, because some of you may think that, oh, that's so easy. It's not difficult. Some of you may feel that I'm lost now, right? Okay, don't worry. Just listen to me, and then once we're done with this, I'll repeat it. Okay. Perhaps if you if you're confident, then you can start writing notes now. If you're not so confident, then you can listen first. During the second repetition, then you can make notes. Okay. The acquired afflictions directed towards the truth of suffering of the desire realm. Acquired afflictions directed towards the truth of suffering of the higher realms. Two afflictions are there. Okay, now these two afflictions to be eradicated at the path of seeing. Okay, acquired means to be eradicated by the path of seeing. Okay, for that, what we need is this is important now. Okay, let's say the first what is that remedy? Now we are talking about the remedy. We are talking about the path of seeing. Path of seeing is the remedy. So the remedy to overcome the acquired afflictions directed towards the truth of suffering of the desire realm and of the higher realm. You're getting it? Okay, remedies to overcome the acquired afflictions directed towards the truth of suffering of the desire realm, directed towards the truth of suffering of the higher realms. Okay. Now this remedy is of two. Remedies two, and then your job is done. Okay, then I will not classify any further, right? Okay. First, you may better would be to just listen. Okay, remedies two. The first one is very pretty simple. That the first one is like say the remedy, and the opposite force, remedy and the mental defilement or the acquired affliction. Acquired affliction directed towards the truth of suffering of the desire realm. You're getting it? Okay. First, let's say my left hand is the affliction, my right hand is a remedy. Same affliction, acquired affliction, directed towards the truth of suffering of the desire realm. And now the remedy. What the remedy does is that first the remedy fights with the affliction. Okay, just listen. Fights with the affliction, and then given that the remedy is more powerful, what will the remedy do is that, say like you are fighting with a robber inside your house, you are fighting with a burglar, and you win, and then you throw the burglar out of your house. So you are able to throw the burglar out of your house. Now your house is free of the burglar, but the burglar can get in anytime because the door is not latched from inside. You're getting it? The first moment is where the burglar is already thrown out of a house, but the door is not latched from inside, which means the burglar can get anytime inside. This is one. But you win. You won the battle. But the only thing is that there is the next moment. Danger is there. The burglar can get in anytime. Number one. Number two is that then you make sure that you latch in properly from inside. You latch the door properly from inside. Then you can relax. He cannot get in. The burglar cannot get in. You're getting it? Okay. So I'll say the remedy where the remedy two remedies I'm talking about within the path of seeing. One, the remedy where you remove the acquired affliction, remove it, but you are yet to latch the door from inside. That is like you are yet to gain the the entitlement. You are yet to gain the state of cessation. The state of cessation. So earlier, the first moment remedy. The first remedy is known as two remedies. First one is known as the path of seeing, uninterrupted path of seeing. The first one is known as uninterrupted path of seeing, and second one is known as path of release of the path of seeing. Some people translate it as path of liberation, path of release. Okay, so for time being, you can just go for both options, but you just note them down both. Path of release / liberation, path of liberation. So I'll use the word path of release. Okay, so the uninterrupted path is the first one. Uninterrupted path of seeing. Uninterrupted path of the path of seeing, which means that the mental defilements are already removed, but you are yet to gain the confidence that they will not come back. You are yet to gain this confidence. You have removed the mental defilements, but you are yet to gain the confidence. When you will get the confidence, you will get the second moment. Second moment is known as path of release of the path of seeing. The first one, before the confidence, although the defilements are removed, but you are yet to gain the confidence that they will not come back. So that is known as path of uninterrupted path of seeing. Uninterrupted path of seeing. And then the second moment, the next moment, you get the confidence that now this particular mental defilement will not come back again at all. When you gain this confidence, it is known as path of release. Okay, path of release. Now, what I say is that uninterrupted path of the path of seeing to counteract the acquired affliction directed towards the truth of suffering of the desire realm. You're getting it? Okay, let me say this again. It requires a little bit, even I feel tired to think of all these words in English. In Tibetan, I've been used to this. Initially, when I was in the monastery, first learned this, I have to remember all this one after the other without altering the sequence. And it's very tiring. So after a while, it becomes very easy. It's a matter of practice. So likewise, now for you it's just in English. For me, I have to do both in English and Tibetan. Right? Okay, so now I'm also struggling the way you're struggling now in English. Right? In Tibetan is not a problem for me. Okay, now this is the basic background. Now I will add the terminologies. Okay. Okay. First let me repeat what I said before. Let me repeat this, and then I will add the terminology. Okay. First we talk about the affliction, and then after identifying the affliction well, then it becomes easy to identify the remedies, the path of seeing. First, the affliction wise. Okay, affliction. Affliction, there are two kinds: acquired and innate. And acquired to eradicated by the path of seeing, and innate to be eradicated path of meditation. Okay, this is what we have to keep in mind. And for the afflictions, we talk about afflictions related to the Four Noble Truths. These are all the technicalities which otherwise we never learn. We never learn in the other teachings. These are the technicalities which are very important, and you know these things well, then many of the technical philosophical texts, they become easy for us. Okay. Say The acquired afflictions can be related with the Four Noble Truths. Acquired afflictions directed towards the, for example, the same. Okay, the affliction directed towards the flower. My affliction directed towards the person who I dislike. Okay. Likewise, afflictions can be directed towards the truth of suffering, can be directed towards the truth of the truth of the cause of suffering, then the cessation suffering, and the truth of the path leading to cessation. Okay, I can see that some of you are yawning. Yeah, it's not that easy, right? Yeah. Okay, which means that you are very serious. If you are not serious, you will not yawn. Okay, you simply bypass all this. The fact that you are yawning means that you are really struggling, right? And so much energy consumed. Your brain is working very differently. So the brain, when it works very differently, it consumes lots of energy. So your body doesn't have the energy, and then it makes you yawn. Yeah, feel tired, craving for energy. Yeah, and the rest. Good. Okay. And I agree with you because this is my experience when I was when I first studied these. So I'm not really surprised when you're yawning. Yeah. Okay. Yawning means it's a good sign. You're very serious. Yeah. You were thinking about it. Okay. This is not difficult. It's just a matter of, say the putting an order in sets. So this is what makes things a little complicated. And vocabularies. You have to attach the vocabularies. Once the concept is created, then you put the vocabularies. Is easy. Okay. First, afflictions. Afflictions, acquired afflictions. Acquired afflictions directed towards the truth of suffering, to the cause of suffering, truth of the cessation suffering, to the path leading to cessation. First, let's focus on truth of the suffering. Then it is you. I will ask you to relate this to the truth of the cause of suffering. Likewise to the next two. Are you ready? The first one with the truth of the suffering. Truth of suffering, they say the acquired affliction. We are talking about only the acquired, not the innate. Acquired affliction directed towards the truth of suffering of the desired realm. Acquired affliction directed towards the truth of suffering of the higher realm. You got it? Okay. So acquired afflictions directed towards the truth of suffering is of two kinds. One of the desired realm, one of the higher realm. And now these afflictions, acquired afflictions, to be remedied by path of seeing. Path of seeing. So the path of seeing to remedy each of these two afflictions, acquired afflictions, to remedy that we require a set of two remedies. Set of two remedies to eradicate, say the truth of the truth. What is that? Eradicate the afflictive. No, acquired afflictions directed towards the truth of suffering of the desire realm. Okay, what are they? Uninterrupted path of seeing, and the path of release of the path of seeing. Two, right? So one is like you find you say throw away the opposite force, but you are yet to gain the conviction or the confidence that the counter force will not come back. You don't have the confidence. When you gain the confidence, then it is known as the path of release of the path of seeing. In other words, these two will always go together. Uninterrupted path of seeing and the path of release of the path of seeing. These two will always go together whenever they counteract the affliction. Okay, now let's say that let's say now I'm talking about the path of seeing. Path of seeing, not just path of seeing in general, very specific path of seeing related to which affliction, related to which truth, related to which realm. You're getting it? Path of seeing, there are two. Uninterrupted path of seeing to counteract the acquired affliction, focused on the truth of suffering of the desire realm. You're getting it? First, let's go slow. Okay, uninterrupted part of seeing to counteract the acquired affliction directed towards the truth of suffering of the desire realm. You getting it? Okay, the first one is the part of seeing. Which part of seeing? Uninterrupted part of seeing. And then to part of seeing to counteract what? To counteract the acquired affliction. Acquired affliction with which of the Four Noble Truths? Acquired affliction directed towards the truth of suffering. And truth of suffering, there are two kinds. The desire realm and the higher realm. Truth of suffering of the desire realm. You're getting it? Okay. How many things are there? On the path of seeing, uninterrupted path of seeing is number one. To counter the acquired afflictions. 2. Directed towards the truth of suffering. 3. Of the desire realm. 4. So we need to remember 4 things. You're getting it? Okay. Now you apply this to the path of release. So with this path of uninterrupted path, then next will be followed by the path of release. You'll gain it is like somebody who sit for the exam and you are very confident you pass. Not only you pass, you get distinction. You are very confident. But then you are yet to get the certificate. You are yet to get the degree. Right? So you set for the exam. Now there's nothing more for nothing for you to learn or for you to practice whatever. You have all set for the exam. Now you're only waiting for the certificate. Without the certificate, you cannot get to anywhere. Right? Without certificate, for example, high school, without certificate, the college is not going to take you. Okay, you just require the certificate to say that yes, I finished. Yeah. So likewise, part of uninterrupted path, and then the certification is done by the path of release. Okay, now we work on the path of release. Same is very easy. Path of release of the path of seeing, path of release of the path of seeing to counteract the acquired affliction of the truth of suffering of the desire realm. You're getting it? Okay. Now let's do this. Say part of the uninterrupted path and the path of release related to the higher realm. How do we do that? Okay, anybody? I don't want to think now. I'm tired. Okay, anybody who wants to do that for me? Jill?
Let me try.
Yes.
So for which one are we doing, Deshala?
Okay. First, uninterrupted part of seeing related to the high realms. Yes.
So the uninterrupted path to counter.
Okay, uninterrupted path. Don't just say uninterrupted path. Uninterrupted path. It can be part of seeing or part of meditation. It can be both. So you should be very precise. Uninterrupted path. Yes.
Of the path of seeing to counter acquired afflictions directed towards the truth of suffering of the higher realm.
Very good. And we may not necessarily even say directed towards the truth of suffering. We can say that the acquired affliction of the desire of the truth of suffering of the higher realm. Or if you want to say directed, that's also fine. Okay. Anybody else who likes to do the truth of the path of release? The same thing. Abelardo, you want to say this? Okay, let us all listen.
It's not. I don't want to say this. I just want to point out that in the first semester, you only mentioned the distinction between desire realm, form realm, and formless realm, but you never really explained to us what each of these are or any examples. So I'm having difficulty right now relating this because we're lacking this.
Yes, I agree with you. Very good. Okay. Yes, we'll do this later on. For the time being, let's flow with this. And sometimes first, how we learn is first we just learn the technicalities, and then we can go into the more how to relate that in our own real life, right? I'll not forget this, Abelardo. Your question is very good. We'll do that. For the time being, let's flow. Okay, the sadhana.
It's the path of liberation release to eliminate the acquired afflictions directed towards the truth of suffering of the higher realm.
Say it again.
The path of liberation release to eliminate the
path of release of the path of seeing.
meditation. Or would it be off the path of meditation here?
About very far away. Yeah, just a drop of the path of seeing, not even the full path of seeing. Yeah.
So it would be the path of liberation of the path of seeing.
Very good.
To eliminate the acquired afflictions directed towards the truth of suffering of the higher realm.
Very good. Thank you. Okay. Very good. Now, now I will attach the labels. Attach the technical labels. Technical labels easy. Okay. Technical labels. Okay. So for the technical labels, what we need to know is the suffering. Lian Chu, you have a question?
Sorry, before you go to that, Geshe-la, can you just repeat? Did you say the first moment and the second moment? I just want to be clear. First moment is the path of liberation, and second moment is the path of release. Is that what you said?
Okay. Let me repeat it. So basically, it is like there are two. One is you fight, but you don't have the confidence. Number two is you have the confidence. The one you fight, but without the confidence, that is the uninterrupted path. And then the with confidence is the path of release. Path of release, path of liberation, these two are your choice. You can choose these two are synonymous. These two are synonymous. Path of release, path of liberation. I prefer to use the path of release. The path of release, because not to confuse with other things. Because we are talking about the path of liberation. Of the thousands of paths that we have, there's only one which is the path to liberate us, or the path of liberation, which is the wisdom of selflessness or the wisdom of emptiness. So a confusion can be there. The same word can be used in different, the technical term can be used to refer to many other meanings. To avoid a complication, I prefer to use the path of release. Okay. Now ready? Anybody has any question before we attach the labels, technical terms? Okay, technical terms is not that difficult. Okay. Say what it has is one is the truth of suffering. Truth of suffering it remains the same. The next one is the desire realm and the higher realm. Okay, for desire realm, the label is given as ch. Okay, ch means phenomena. It's just a technical term used. Phenomena. And then for the higher realm, the technical term used is chusu, jesu. Okay, it's the subsequent. Okay, then the uninterrupted path. Uninterrupted path. The technical term used is the forbearance. For the uninterrupted path, the technical term uses forbearance. And for the path of release, for the path of release, the technical term uses knowledge. You're getting it? Okay, just be aware of be mindful of the technical terms used for the path, for the uninterrupted path, and why of course, this is not difficult. It's just a matter of, you just try to be mindful. Say the terminology, try to latch the various terminologies to the respective the words that we already know. Okay, once you do that, why I'm spending so much time on this, as this is one technical thing which you can carry in all the 4 schools. Number one, all the 4 schools. Number one. Number two, very important, is that oftentimes while you're studying the Madhyamaka Avatar, while you're studying the, say, Aranagarjuna's text, Fundamental Wisdom of Middle Way, or you study, say, like the tantric treatises, very sophisticated tantric treatises, very sophisticated ones. So there you will see that the Lam Jesu means, say, the Lam Chesu, okay, the subsequent Jesu Jeshe, okay, the knowledge of the knowledge of the subsequent part, knowledge of the subsequent part of the path, knowledge of the subsequent part of the path. It's just said like this in the text. It's not at all explained, and the learned people, they already know what it is referring to. Whereas if you just, if you are the kind of people who always, attend this teaching, 5-day teaching, 2-day teaching, like this, never go into the systematic studies, you will get lost. And then when you see this turn on, just to get over that, you'll find get stuck, and then you see that there's no way by which I can understand the text. It's not difficult. It's just a matter of, say, where you have to study A, B, C, D, like this. Okay, and this is very important for us to exercise. Once you exercise it, it's very easy. It's not that difficult. For example, in Tibetan, it's very easy. Dunge chusu, dunge chusu chushe, dunge jesu jeshe. And the kunju chusu chushi jesu jeshe. Goba chusu chushi jesu jeshe. Lam chusu chushi jesu jeshe. 16 finish. Very easy. You're getting it? So the point is that, no, this is not at all difficult. The point is that we have our mind. It doesn't work so fast at the moment. So how do you make it fast? For example, when you learn a language, if you learn a language, for example, if you learn Tibetan, for me, it's like not even 2 seconds. For you first say it, it'll take like 10 seconds. You're getting it? And if I'm to learn, say, any other language like German, French, Mandarin, or whatever language that I learn, so it'll be so difficult for me. But it's so easy for you. It's a matter of practice. Okay, so what we do is that the first one. So what is the first one? Of the 16. So we have the 16. You're getting it? We have the 16. Okay. Anybody raise your hands who would like to relate this to the truth of the cause of suffering? The set of four related to the truth of the cause of suffering. The first one. Anybody who likes to practice? Who likes to volunteer? Okay, sadhana. Okay, Jat, the first one.
I think the first one is the uninterrupted path of seeing, and to eradicate the acquired afflictions directed to the truth of suffering of the desire realm.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. The next one. Therefore, the first one is cleared. NDC batch 2. Okay, the next. No one? Okay, Andre?
Yes, Geshe-la. So the second one is the path of release or liberation of the path of seeing to counteract acquired affliction related to the truth of causes of suffering of the desire realm.
Very good. Okay, Anna Sophie. Number 3. Number 3 of the set 1. Yes.
An interrupted path of the path of seeing to counteract the acquired affliction of to the cause of the suffering of the higher realm.
Very good. Okay, the last one. Anybody? Last one. Last one. Last one. Last one. Okay, Jane.
The path of release on the path of seeing to remove the acquired afflictions of the truth of suffering, of the truth of the cause of suffering of the higher realms.
Very good. Thank you, Jane. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Okay, good. So now on the, let's see. Now let us add the technical terms. Let's add the technical terms. Okay. Say the uninterrupted path of seeing. Uninterrupted path of seeing. So that is, say chusuk is the forbearance. Uninterrupted path of seeing. Together, we say just the forbearance. The forbearance, and then the forbearance of the truth of suffering. Okay, so in English, we have to alter it a little bit to make it smooth English. The forbearance of the phenomena, forbearance to the suffering of the phenomena, to the suffering, forbearance of the phenomena, Okay, let's put it like this. Later on, I will try to work on it, how it can be put better in English, not too nice, because it's in any way it's very technical. The forbearance, okay. Okay, forbearance, the knowledge of the forbearance. Forbearance. Forbearance of the phenomenon. Forbearance. Okay, forbearance of the phenomena of the truth of suffering. Forbearance of the phenomena of the truth of suffering. Forbearance is what? Uninterrupted path of seeing. And the phenomena is the desire realm and truth of suffering. Forbearance of the phenomena of the truth of suffering. The next one is the knowledge. The knowledge, okay. The knowledge of the phenomena of the truth of suffering. Knowledge of the phenomena, or you can put it simply, knowledge of the phenomena of suffering. Knowledge of the phenomena of the suffering. Knowledge is what? Is the path of release of the path of seeing. And the knowledge of the chushe. Okay. Chu is the phenomena. The knowledge of the phenomena of the truth of suffering. Phenomena means is the desire realm of the suffering. Okay, so this is how we have to relate it. Now, where the forbearance of the phenomena of suffering, knowledge of the phenomena of suffering. Okay, now the forbearance of the phenomena of the cause of suffering, knowledge of the phenomena of the cause of suffering. You're getting it? Okay, let me say this again. First, related to the truth of suffering. Truth of suffering. Okay, truth of suffering 4. Truth of suffering 4. Okay, the forbearance of the phenomena of the suffering. Forbearance is the uninterrupted path of the path of seeing, and the phenomena is the desire realm, and then the suffering. Okay, on the forbearance of the phenomena of suffering, and then the next one is say the knowledge. Forbearance and knowledge go together. Forbearance is the uninterrupted path, and the knowledge is the path of release. And the the phenomena refers to the desire realm, and the subsequent refers to the higher realms. Okay, so the first two done. The next one is the forbearance of the subsequent. Okay, on the forbearance of the subsequent suffering. Forbearance of the subsequent suffering, and the knowledge of the subsequent suffering. Subsequent referring to the higher realm. You getting it? Okay. Now anybody who can do this for the truth of the cause of suffering, raise hands. Okay, Gayatri ji.
The forbearance of phenomena of cause of suffering, and
Yes.
the knowledge of phenomena of cause of suffering.
Very good.
The forbearance of phenomena of truth of cessation of suffering.
No.
The knowledge of phenomena of
No. No. First, we complete the to the cause of suffering. Okay. The Raviji, you like to say? Raviji, raise hand. Yes.
Is forbearance of the phenomena of the truth of cause of suffering.
Good.
And knowledge of the phenomena of the truth of cause of suffering.
Yes, and then the next two, high realm.
It is the forbearance of subsequent of the truth of cause of suffering, and the knowledge of phenomena of the truth of cause of suffering.
Okay, very good. Okay, Smita ji, you like try? Good, Raviji, thank you.
No, I think he said knowledge of.
No, it doesn't matter. You say it. It's just it's a matter. We all know this. It's not that difficult. Only thing is that to put it.
Cessation. Which one do you want, Gishula?
Oh wow, you are giving me choice. Which one? Which choice you give me? Let's do with the truth of the cessation of suffering.
Okay, so that would be forbearance of the phenomena of the truth of cessation of suffering. Knowledge of the phenomenon of the truth of cessation of suffering. Forbearance of the subsequent of the truth of cessation of suffering. Knowledge of the subsequent of the truth of cessation of suffering.
Very good. Yeah, you are so fluent. Thank you. Okay, anybody? Now the truth of the path leading to cessation. Anybody? Oh, everybody's scared. Okay, Ladrona, you like try. Okay, Brother Peck.
Yes, Keshila, I tried.
Yes.
You hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So it's a path, yeah. So
yes.
The first is the forbearance. Forbearance of the phenomena of let me see.
Of the path.
Forbearance of the phenomena of the path of suffering.
The path to liberation, path to cessation. Okay.
Cessation of suffering, and then the knowledge of the phenomena of the path of liberation of suffering. Path of cessation of suffering. Then the next one is the forbearance of the subsequent of the path of cessation of suffering. And then the last one is the knowledge of the subsequent of the path of cessation of suffering.
Okay, very good, Brother Beck. Thank you so much. Okay, the knowledge of the knowledge of the phenomena, knowledge of the subsequent. For subsequent, better would be just say knowledge of this subsequent, knowledge of this subsequent path of cessation, rather than subsequent of. Subsequent of is the technically English wise, I'm sure native English speakers will not be too happy. Okay, subsequent path of accumulate, the subsequent path of the part of cessation, part leading to cessation. Okay, subsequent path of cessation, meaning that subsequent meaning with respect to the desired realm, that is the subsequent. That's the meaning. So the path of the path leading to cessation related to the desired realm, path leading to cessation related to the higher realm. So of the two, the second one is subsequent. Subsequent path of the subsequent path of the cessation. Okay, good. Okay, now what I would suggest is that all of us, we practice it. Just try to say the 16 of them in one go. That's not difficult. Just practice it. Even if you are very confident, you know that, but make it very fluent. In Tibetan, for example, how I said it, Dunga chusu chushi jesu jeshe, Kunyu chusu chushi jesu jeshe, Boba chusu chushi jesu jeshe, Lam chusu chushi jesu jeshe. So this says, I don't really have to think. In English, I have to think. Because I'm not used to that. Okay, likewise for all of us, you just practice it, make it your, like a second nature. It comes out. Okay, then for example, in Tibetan, Lam chusu chusu, Lam jesu jeshe, Lam jeshe. Lam jeshe is the 16th moment. Lam jeshe means, Lam jeshe is the knowledge of the subsequent path. Just a path, rather than the path leading to the cessation. Knowledge of the subsequent path. So this path and path in general, these two are very different. This path is the path in the context of the Four Noble Truths. Knowledge of the subsequent path. That means that comes the 16th moment. 16th moment. So 16th moment is is when you have when you've eradicated all the acquired afflictions. With the 16th moment, because 16 means the earlier moments already preceded, which means that all the acquired afflictions are eradicated at this point. And the 16th one is the path of release. It's not the forbearance. It's not the uninterrupted path. It's the path of release, which means that you have already gained the conviction. Okay, so this is how we have to practice it. This is very important. Please do this, practice this, and after the class, practice it. Just try to say these 16 moments, one after other, one after. Try to say it like 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. If there need be like 10, 20 times. Make it very easy. Okay. Pujala, you have a question? Okay. Then now the point is, okay, Gayatri ji.
Venerable Keshala, I just wanted to ask you that the 16th moment that you were mentioning.
Yes.
That so each is a moment of understanding of or awareness.
Say it again.
The 16th, you're saying 16th moment when you have eradicated all acquired afflictions. So in these 16 moments, the first, second, third, fourth, each is a moment of awareness.
Okay, this is a good question. Thank you. It's a good question. So basically, the idea is like so what do you meditate on? Actually, what you meditate on in these 16 moments is you meditate on it's very okay. The one example, which is a common example given, is that if your jacket falls on the mud, in the mud, and then it has the very gross solid mud there. And your jacket is the white jacket, and then it's defiled now. So to wash it, first what you do is that you don't have to identify which is the gross one. First I have to remove the gross one, then I have to remove the sub. No, just immerse it in the water, and the water will not say the first, and you only bring the gross mud. Don't bring the subtle one. No, it's just by the process, a natural process, that the gross and subtle you immerse in the water. The water will first wash the gross ones. That is natural process, and then then you put it in again the clean water. The next bucket of the clean water, you put it there. Then the subtle one will go away. Then you put it in the third, and then the subtlest one. Once just the water will not remove them. So you put detergent, and the detergent has the capacity to remove all the dirt, but the first application of the detergent may not remove all the dirt, will just remove part of it. Again you wash it, rinse it well. Again you use the same detergent, and then the subtlest one will go away. So this is a process. It's not that you require different kinds of detergent to remove the different layers of the subtle stains. It's not required. It's the same detergent, but the first application will remove the grosser one, second application will remove the subtler one. This is how it works. So likewise, what happens is that you, in terms of what you're meditating, you can be meditating on impermanence according to this school. According to Vaibhashika, you can, so this part of seeing may not be only focused on the selflessness or the emptiness. It can be focused on any of the 16 attributes of the Four Noble Truths: impermanence, suffering, emptiness, selflessness, and then the cause and the cause of all. Any of the 16 aspects you can meditate. Just meditate on this, and then the experiences that you will get is that first on the, I'll say, the afflictions, the acquired afflictions related to the truth of suffering of the desire realm will be removed first. Then the second one, then the third one. This is how it happens. First of the desire realm, then of the higher realm, then the truth, the acquired afflictions of the truth of the suffering of the desire, the truth of cause of suffering of the desire realm and the higher realm, and then the likewise the cessation of the desire higher, the path of desire higher. So this naturally, gets removed. It's not that you should be aware of; it's automatically removed. And these 16 moments, they are given rise to within you. Okay. Now the question is, these 16 moments, how do they arise in you? How do they arise in you? Okay, these 16 moments, you will surely agree with me. I don't know how many you will agree with me that these 16 moments, if you look at it very clearly, we see that there are 8 moments of forbearances and 8 moments of knowledges. You agree with me or not? 8 moments of forbearances and 8 moments of knowledges. 8 moments of forbearances meaning 8 moments of uninterrupted paths, and 8 moments of the 8 moments of what? The knowledge means the 8 moments of the path of release. You're getting it? So total there are 16. 8 moments of uninterrupted paths and 8 moments of the path of release. Okay. So the question is, how do they arise? How do they arise, these 16 moments? They arise sequentially one after the other, or they arise simultaneously? How do they arise? This question. Okay. So for this is a very important point. This is a very important point. How the Vaibhashikas present and how the other Buddhist schools present is different. Vaibhashikas, for them, it is like the 16, the example given is, say there's a very narrow bridge. In the narrow bridge, to cross a river, very narrow bridge, and then you let the 16, say the goats. How the goats will go? They'll go just together, or they'll go one after the other. So in other words, Vaibhashikas, they say that there are literally 16 moments, one after the other, 16 moments. And of the 16 moments, there are sequential Sequentially, 16 moments are there. And the 16th one, keep this in mind, 16th one, which is, okay, what is the 16th one? Anybody? Okay, Jill?
Meditation?
No, meditation. Meditation, there are 4. Okay, chart.
Knowledge of the subsequent path.
Say it again.
The knowledge of the subsequent.
Knowledge of the subsequent path. Perfect. Okay, Triptiji.
It's the knowledge of the subsequent, of the truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering.
Okay, very good. Let's say the knowledge of the subsequent path to the truth of the cessation. Very good. Thank you. Okay, so that is number 16. So now keep in mind that according to Vaibhashika, the 16th one is not the path of the seeing. This is a unique presentation. 16th one, 16th. The first 15 are the path of seeing. The 16th one is path of meditation, not the path of seeing. According to Vaibhashika, this is a unique presentation of Vaibhashika. You're getting it? Okay. Now, what about the presentations by the other schools? For the other schools, very simple. Only 2 moments. Only 2 moments are there. 16 moments are given the 16 different labels on the basis of 2 moments. First moment is the forbearance. The second moment is the knowledge. The first moment is the uninterrupted path of seeing. Now I'm talking about the other schools, other Buddhist schools, not Vaibhashika. Only 2 moments are there. What are the first one is the uninterrupted path of seeing, and second one is the path of release of the path of seeing too. So uninterrupted path is known as the forbearance, and the path of release is known as the knowledge. Forbearance or knowledge. Only 2 moments are there. The first one, the forbearance or the uninterrupted path, the same path is given 8 different labels. 8 different labels. You're getting it? Okay. Okay. The forbearance of the phenomena of this suffering, the forbearance of the subsequent suffering, the forbearance of the cause of the forbearance of the phenomena of the cause of suffering, forbearance of the subsequent cause of suffering. You getting it? So likewise, the cessation and the path. So the forbearance, there are 8. All these 8, there are not 8 moments there. Only 1 moment with the 8 different labels. Okay. Some of you may be confused then. Don't worry, I will give you one example. You will get it easily. One time, there was a new restaurant opened, and it is a real story. New restaurant opened, and I happened to be there. A small restaurant. I happened to be there. And then we were so excited. We read the menu. And the menu, they are like, very unlike, it was in a very remote place. And the menu, it's very detailed menu are there. About like maybe 80 some, the food items are there. And people are so excited. So they ordered different food. And then there were about like, I think about like 20 or people inside this restaurant. Everybody just crowded. And then the waiter came with the food. He came with a label, some label A. Who ordered the food, label A? Who ordered food, label A? Nobody owned up. He went back. Again he came back. Who ordered label A? Who ordered label? Nobody. Again he went back. Again he came back. And then one person said that it has been about like 1 hour that I ordered food with label D, not A, with label D. It never came. And the person, yes, this is one. You getting it? It's the same food with the label A, label B, label D, label G, label. So all these given just the same food, given so many labels. You're getting it? Actually, it's the same food. Likewise, the same forbearance. 1 moment of the forbearance given 8 different labels. And you may be wondering, why all these labels are given? What's the purpose? The point is that the same forbearance has the capacity to get rid of all the acquired afflictions related to these 8 different versions. Not 8, the 4 different versions. 4 different versions. Okay, let's say the acquired afflictions of the desire realm related to the truth of suffering. And then if you want to make it more detailed, then the truth of suffering, truth of cause of suffering, and the Four Noble Truths related to the Four Noble Truths. And we want to make it more detailed, then the 4 into 2, desire realm and form realm. All the acquired afflictions, they have been combated by the same uninterrupted path. The same uninterrupted path has the capacity to combat all these, the what? 4 or 8? Okay, 8. All these 8. The Four Noble Truths, and each of the truths are the suffering. Let's say the first one, suffering of the desire realm and the higher realm, the phenomena and the subsequent. Okay, the 2 are their age. So the same uninterrupted path has the capacity to fight with all the 8 acquired afflictions, and the same path of release has the confidence that one has overthrown for good all the 8 acquired afflictions. You're getting it? This is to give this information to us. Okay, so in other words, according to the higher schools on the path of seeing, we see that in terms of the meditative equipoise, the meditative equipoise, uninterrupted path, which is the forbearance, and the path of release, which is the knowledge. So it's just 2 moments. The first one is to fight and then throw out the acquired afflictions, and the second moment to gain conviction. That's it. Okay, and then the path of seeing, the practitioner, the Arya part of seeing, in the part of seeing, he gets up from the meditative poise, and then engage in the post meditation. There's one possibility. Yeah, or they can also go into the meditation on emptiness or the selflessness or any of the 16 attributes the way they like. Yeah. Okay, these are the 16 moments. Good. Okay, we'll stop here, and I would suggest you to learn the 16. Try to make it the fluent. Okay, Neeraj, you have a question?
So, Keshan, I have one slightly confusing question. According to what we learned in the Wheel of Life, a mind stream would either be in the desire realm or the form realm or the formless realm.
Yes.
Right? Now,
Yes.
you mentioned that for the Vaibhashikas, these 16 moments are like 16 goats sequential. So, how does it happen? I mean, a person in the Vaibhashika philosophy would need to take birth in the desire realm and then finish up 8 moments, and in the next subsequent wherever rebirth, go into the higher realm and then finish the 8 moments. I mean, that sequence is not yet clear.
Okay, Neeraj, thank you so much. You are thinking. I can see that you are thinking on this line. Very good. Okay, afflictions, there are 2 kinds: acquired and innate. And unless the innate one is eradicated, unless the innate affliction of the desire realm is eradicated, one cannot go take birth in the form realm. So what we are talking here is only eradicating the acquired, not the innate. So the person may not have eradicated the innate, but keep in mind that eradicating the innate, okay, just for information, it's a form for some of us it can be a little complicated, not complicated, a little confusing. Eradicating the innate, okay, eradicating the innate afflictions to be done in 2 ways: by suppressing, number 1, number 2, uprooting. 2, suppressing can be done even before the path of seeing. Even before the path of seeing, you can suppress, and you still get the credit that you have eradicated the afflictions of the desire realm, afflictions of the form realm, afflictions of the formless, the lower realms, you still get the credit. But then it doesn't mean that you've eradicated from the root. To eradicate from the root, you must get the path of meditation, the what we call as the transcendental path of meditation. Okay, keep it aside for the time being. Yeah, it can confuse many of us. No point. But the point is that without eradicating the both afflictions, acquired and innate, one cannot take birth in the higher realms. So what we are talking about here, the path of seeing, is just getting rid of the acquired, not the innate. So the person may not be eradicated innate yet. So one does not have to take birth in form or the formless higher realm in order to move to the next. All these 16 moments can happen within the desire realm. Okay, any more questions? Any more questions? Okay, Raviji.
Disha, regarding this, the second of the four.
The second of the four or the second of the 16?
It's the second of the 16.
Okay, thank you.
The second of the 16, when it says that, to eliminate acquired affliction, in the second of 16, does it mean that this is the acquired innate affliction?
Okay, what is the second of the 16?
Well, the second of the 16 is the path of, the release, the knowledge the knowledge of the phenomenon of
knowledge of the phenomena of the desire realm. No, knowledge of the phenomena, the truth of suffering.
To eliminate the acquired affliction of the truth of suffering of desire realm. So that is this acquired affliction is an acquired innate affliction?
Okay, acquired innate, these two are very different. Acquired is more like philosophically what you have learned, and the innate one is what is naturally happening within us. So these two are opposites.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, Lian Chu.
Sorry, Gisela, in one of our very early lessons on the path, you said that the path of accumulation is the liberating path and all other paths are ripening paths.
Okay, who said it?
You said it to us.
Okay, wow, Lianju is quite courageous to say you said it. Okay, so Lianji, don't exit out of NDC till you are able to say that this is not what Geshe Dorji Damji said it, right? Till that point, you cannot exit. Okay, so what we said is that the wisdom of emptiness in general, not in the context of Vaibhashika, in Vaibhashika is very different. Distinguishing the liberating path and the ripening paths. So, in this context, from the point of view of the high schools, it is only the wisdom of emptiness. High schools meaning the Chittamatra and Madhyamika. It is only the wisdom of emptiness. Let's put it like this. Okay, let's put it like this. It is only the wisdom of selflessness. Let's put it like this. It is only the wisdom of selflessness which is the liberating path. All others are ripening paths. Okay. So now we see that within the path of accumulation, again, some are in the form of wisdom of selflessness, and the others are in the form of the like generosity, ethical discipline, patience, and so forth. So all others are the ripening paths, and the wisdom of selflessness alone is the liberating path. In whatever context, in whatever context of the schools, of the 5 paths. Are you good? Any more questions? Okay, the Caroline Ming.
Kishila,
I was wondering what's the difference between wisdom realizing emptiness and the right view of emptiness. What are the difference between these two?
Thank you, Karen Ming. What is the difference between wisdom realizing emptiness and the right view of emptiness? Same, synonymous, synonymous. Welcome. Any more questions? Okay, the Anna Sophie.
Just to confirm, forbearance and knowledge are only for the path of seeing or acquired affliction.
Okay, Anna Sophie, would you mind repeating it? There's so much of echo.
Okay. I want to know the technical terms forbearance and knowledge are only used for the path of seeing, that is for acquired afflictions, or are they also used for other afflictions?
Anna Sophie, just put your mic down and try to speak.
Sorry. My question is the technical terms forbearance and knowledge only for the path of seeing and not for the path of meditation?
Okay, so there's so much echo. I cannot understand what is. Anybody heard it well? Anybody heard Anna Sophie well? Okay, Laura.
Keshala, I think Anne Sophie said she's asking whether the terms forbearance and knowledge are only applicable on the path of seeing or whether they are also applicable on the path of meditation.
Okay, it says the Anna Sophie, where are you? Anna Sophie, is this your question?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so which means that, okay, good. Thank you, Anna Sophie. This is a very serious question. Okay, so basically, okay, let me put it like this. Say, uninterrupted path and the path of release. These two are not only applicable to path of seeing, these two are also applicable to the path of meditation. Whereas the forbearance and the knowledge. So these two terminologies, they are used only in the context of the path of seeing. Only in the context of path of seeing, but keep in mind, according to Vaibhashika, the 16th moment is not the path of seeing, is the path of meditation. But in the other schools, forbearance and say the forbearance and the knowledge, these two are the vocabularies used only in the context of the path of seeing. Okay, keep in mind that is according to the standard text, right? Some people might compose their own commentaries and they may use the vocabularies in their different contexts. But if you look at the standard books, like the standard Nalanda Masters, you see that this is used only in the context of path of seeing. Yeah. Okay, Abelardo.
I guess, are these classifications that we've learned today in the Tenet Systems book?
Say it again.
Are the classifications we have learned today in the Tenet System books?
Yes. Okay, you will not find it detailed there. It's just the 16 moments, right? 16 moments. But then if you go to, in fact, I am actually thinking of along with this, my translation, I'm thinking of also adding the glossaries and endnotes, where all these important, like the classifications, I am thinking of including them. For the time being, it's quite a heavy work. I need helper. So this is the problem. So at the moment, number one is COVID, and then for some reasons, so there are some labs happening. Otherwise, I'm there thinking of But the many of these classifications, if you want to, which are not in the root text, you want to learn, they should be available from the cutting through appearance, and cutting through appearance, which is the translation by Jeffrey Hopkins of the root text, plus the rendering of the commentary by Geshe Sobala, an incredible great scholar, incredible great, highly refined great scholar, who of course passed away several years ago. The Geshe Sobala, and then the Geshe Sobala and Jeffrey, both of them. Yeah. The rendering of the commentary also there, root text is also there, and then in the commentary, and there are also flow charts given there. In the charts, you'll find the many of these the very helpful points you can find, but we can't use them. We, in the form of the class, we can't use them because of the copyright issues. It's because of this that I was compelled to translate this myself. I did translation just for our course. Yeah. Okay, so I'm also thinking of later on adding to the important charts and all these classifications. I'm thinking of adding. Okay, Tenzin Shigala, Devesa, you have anything to add to this, like the charts and so forth?
Yes, Kishla, I think there are some that I may have, but I think we'll have to work, Kishla. I'll have to show it to you, and we can probably release it later.
Yes. Yes. In fact, they say the point is that from the NDC batch 1 last year's, some of them, they produce some beautiful charts, but I always prefer that the either the person, the NDC1 or NDC, and then they doing the NDC once more, at least like twice, 2 times NDC, or NDC plus NMC. Then if such person can produce the materials, they will be very helpful. Simply by doing NDC 1, just batch 1 or batch 2, whatever, you just do 1 year course and then try to bring out the charts and so forth. Is a little, say, accuracy is missing, and this is a little problem there. And then for me to really go through all these things is little difficult for me, because I can see that there are many things to be modified, and I can't really spend so much time on this because of other obligations. Whereas this year, the Tenzin Dumala and Alexi and many others, there are many of you who also worked on this. Many of those, particularly the ones which Tenzin Dumala did, because that she was from NDC1, NDC2, NMC1, she's from all these, and they have been attending such classes since like 14 years ago. 14 years ago, 15 years ago. So therefore, I can see that what she produced as a summaries, they are very good. I can see that. Yeah, very good. Whereas if we just do the 1 year and then they instantly bring out the summaries, the same. If you seek the help of like somebody like Tenzin Dumala or the Debeshla, somebody doing NMC, if you can seek the help of, and Pujala is also there. Pujala is there. If you can seek the help of those people who are more into this, more consistently, what do you do? Show this to them, and then that will be easier for me. Otherwise, for me to go through everything is very difficult. Yeah, because the one who draft the whole thing, summary or the chart or whatever, it's just 1 year, just one time this thing, and the concept is extremely profound. It's not that we can get everything within just one listening. Okay, so this is what I'd like to suggest. If from the NDC2, I can see that there are some of you, like as I said earlier, there's Jumala who is part of everything, NDC1, NDC2, NMC. So some of the summaries which she brought earlier, I was quite impressed. Very good. And so the point is that if this is how you can do, that would be very helpful. Yes, of course, there are many things to be done, like what Abhilav said. Whether or not what we are doing now is what we find in the root text. It's not found there, but we can produce that. Yes. Okay, good. Any more questions? Okay, if not, Divishla.
Geshe-la, I have a written question from Tenzin Dormala. I think
Yes.
she's having some issues. So she typed the question. The question is, if defilement is eliminated for good, then how does a person moves from higher realm back to the desired realm? Because the person abides in higher realms for a very long time, but there's a possibility to drop down to desired realm. If this is the case, then how is it possible since the defilements are uprooted for good?
Okay, so this question is more for the NMC participants. How many of you are NMC participants? Okay, I'm joking. This is quite a profound question. So what I said, but then is related. We can understand it. So the question asked is that, say the 412, okay, from desired realm, say somebody moves from desired realm to the higher realm, where the form or the formless. When you move there, you move there only by eradicating the defilements of the lower realms. Say if you move from desire realm to the form realm, then you have to get rid of the defilements of the lower realm, the desire realm. And if you move from the form realm to the formless, then you have to remove the defilements of the desire realm and the form realm in order to get to formless. So in the process, if this eradication of defilements happen from the root, then how come that these by staying there, by taking birth there in the higher realms for so many for very long duration? So why should you, how come that they come back? They have to come back to the lower realms, desire realm, or from the form to the formless, form to the desire realm. How come? This question. Okay, this is a very good question. In fact, say in most of the cases, for example, say like there were many without any clue of the wisdom of emptiness, without any clue of the wisdom of selflessness, simply by the sitting for meditative concentration, and that too with the proper instruction from the lineage gurus. This is for the long-term meditation, high-quality meditation, and then they can see that they are moving. The state of the mind is moving from the lower realm to the higher realm, and then when they die, they take birth in the higher realm. So that is done not through the wisdom of the selflessness, but purely through the samadhi. So by the samadhi, eradication of the defilements happen only on the level of the suppression, not uprooting it. Those who uproot it, they will not come back. In other words, keep in mind, just for information, this is going to be a little digression. Okay, I don't want to add this. Okay, if you are ready, if you are ready, number one. Number two, if you are keen to do the NMC, then I'll share this. If not, then better close the chapter here. Okay, how many of you are keen to listen to this? Okay, this quite okay. Why I'm saying this is that this is something which will never be discussed in the otherwise other teachings. Only if you're going to study things very systematically, you will hear these concepts. That is, to remove the afflictions by way of suppression, afflictions of the desire realm and the afflictions of the higher realm. You can remove the afflictions of the desire realm first, followed by the afflictions of the higher realms. That is on the suppression level. But by the root, if you to remove the afflictions from the root, then afflictions of the desire realm and the formless realm, all are to be removed simultaneously, not sequentially. You're getting it? In terms of the let's say to remove the afflictions by suppressing it, you can do them in sequentially. First, you remove the afflictions of desire realm, and followed by the afflictions of the first concentration realm of the form realm, then the second, third, fourth, sequentially. But if you are to remove the afflictions from the root, all three realms, they are cut together, not sequentially. You're getting it? So in other words, to remove the afflictions of the desire realm from the root and to remove the afflictions of the formless realm from the root, these two are simultaneous. This is something we have to learn. This we are learning in the very systematic studies, not otherwise. These details, you will never get anywhere. Yeah. What you got? Okay, Swikimla.
Is it in one sitting, Geshe-la, that they remove simultaneously all the afflictions in one sitting? Or
Say it again.
Is it into one sitting? In one sitting?
Okay. This is a good question. Thank you. Again, look, these are very good questions coming up because we are studying this. Is it just one sitting, you remove all the afflictions together, or how? Okay, now it is like you are doing NMC. Okay, are you ready? All of you ready, or you want to ask Swikim to remind us when we are doing NMC? Huh? Now? Raise hands. Now. Okay, you have to take the risk, right? You have to take the risk. Oh, we are getting so much information, new information. Oh, we are getting lost. I'm not going to take I'm not responsible. Okay, so the afflictions are of two kinds: acquired and innate. That you know. Innate afflictions of the desire realm, innate afflictions of the high realm, formed and formless realm, innate further divided into nine levels of the innate afflictions. And these nine, they are eradicated. Even to uproot them, you have to uproot them sequentially, the 9 levels of the desire realm, the 9 levels of the form and formless. Okay, to uproot them, the first of the 9 levels of the desire realm, first of the form and formless realm of the first of the innate of the form and formless realm, desire realm, the form formless realm, high realm, the first of the 9, these two are eradicated simultaneously. The second eradicated simultaneously. Third eradicated simultaneously from the root. You're getting it? So these are not done in one sitting. It can take like many lifetimes. Just the first one of the 9 may take like 2-3 lifetimes. Second one in the next 2-3-4 lifetimes. Right? And in some cases, if you're exceptional smart, then you can eradicate the innate afflictions, but from the root in 3 lifetimes. If you're exceptional smart, and then if you're a genius, then you can do it in 2 lifetimes, and not less. Even if you are the world number 1 genius, you can't do it in 1 lifetime. Minimum you require 2 lifetimes. But if you employ the Vajrayana path, and that too, you should be really gifted. Otherwise, simply be, okay, I'm in Vajrayana, it means nothing. So the point is that if you are exception gifted, then you have the possibility, you have the equipment. So how are you going to use it? For example, say I have all these gadgets like the mobile, the mobile, and some people, they're very sophisticated. Like what? Apple 13, right? Apple 13 is yet to come, right? I can't even manage Apple 6. You're getting it? The facilities Apple 6, I'm using only 1/20th. I can't use I even don't know what are the remaining the facilities that these iPhones have. I don't know. Even this simple mobile, Samsung, this one. I don't know. I can't use it fully. I have it, but I don't know how to use it. Likewise, we put ourselves in the Vajrayana group. And we say, okay, we are from Vajrayana, we are doing the Vajrayana practice. But what we actually do, we really don't know what is Vajrayana, which means that it has the potential. Vajrayana has the potential to give us not only nirvana, even Buddhahood within a single lifetime, but how many can tackle it? 1 out of 1 billion human beings. Guaranteed. 1 out of 1 billion human beings. Okay, so this is what it is. So the point is that now for in the context of the nirvana, say the text says that if you are brilliant, you can achieve nirvana within 3 lifetimes, if exceptionally brilliant. And if you are the very rare, once in a blue moon genius, then in 2 lifetimes, not lesser, not less. Okay, good. Swikim, in other words, it's not done in one sitting. It is done in several lifetimes. Okay, Niraji?
So, Geshe, just coming back to my question and adding on sequence question, for the stuff that we learned, which is the acquired afflictions, can you give a sense of minimum, maximum lifetimes, how that operates? I mean, the trouble that we're happening is because we're seeming to jump from the desire realm to the higher realm, and then coming back to the fifth moment, back to desire realm. So it seems that we are going like this, multiple lifetimes.
So Niraji, there are two things. One is that some people they do their breakfast in Delhi, then they lunch in Manhattan. Not lunch in Manhattan. That's not possible. Lunch in where? Lunch in Europe. And dinner in Brother Peg. Dinner in Malaysia, right? This is one way of doing it. Another way of doing it: just sit in Bangalore, and you order Indian breakfast, and the European lunch, and the Malaysian dinner in the same sitting. You're getting it? So one version is to go to these 3 locations yourself. Other versions, you sit in one place and bring all these qualities within where you are. Yeah. Okay, Raviji.
Krishna, so if everything can be done in the desired realm itself, then what's the point of somebody going to a formless realm in that case?
Okay, say it again, Raviji. Say it again.
If one can achieve all these things in the desired realm itself, then what is the point of somebody going to a formed realm or a formless realm?
Yeah, that's good question. That's good. Okay, if we can achieve all these qualities simply within the desire realm, why does one have to go to desire realm, no form realm, formless realm, so form? Okay, so the idea is that it is not that I want to go there, or it's not like that, and it is of 2 things. One is where you believe, philosophically speaking, your religiously speaking, your doctrinal teachings point of view, and your doctrinal teachings teach you that form realm is nirvana, formless realm is nirvana. So then for you, that is your ultimate goal. This is what many of the practitioners they have in the mind according to their doctrine. It's not necessary that anybody who is practicing the path to form and formless realm, they should be Buddhist. Not necessary. Even there were many non-Buddhist practitioners, very very serious practitioners in the Himalayas. I'm sure even today you will find them who are not at all not Buddhists, right? Non-Buddhist practitioners, and who attained high realization in terms of the samadhi. There are. So for them, many of them, this is what they see as nirvana, moksha. Yeah, because they teach us. They said that this is moksha. and then they seriously think that this is moksha, and then they'll go ahead with this. Okay, this is one thing. Then the otherwise, say for a Buddhist, let's say that let's say for a Buddhist, if even for a Buddhist, say today there are so many Buddhists with different traditions, and some emphasize so much on the samadhi without the wisdom, without emphasizing on the wisdom. Even today you will see this. So if you emphasize so much of the samadhi, and the samadhi also very systematically practiced, very systematic practice, not just the samadhi per se, but the samadhi that qualifies you to take birth in the form realm. Within the form, then the first, second, third, formless first, second, third, and so forth. With that, and then if you actually achieve that state, then automatically you will take birth there, right? Whether you like it or not is not the point. Automatically you will take birth there, because to take birth in the desire realm, you need the afflictions of the desire realm. Without the afflictions of the desire realm, it will not bring you back to the desire realm. So because you don't have the person doesn't have the wisdom of emptiness, the person will be in samsara. But where? Desire realm, you have already eradicated, you have already quit. So the only options left is to take birth in the higher realms. This is one thing. So from that point of view, it's quite scary. It's scary because, say, if one is given a choice, okay, you want to suffer in the COVID hub today, or you want to be in the COVID-free zone. Everybody says, I want to go to COVID-free zone. So like these desire is like the COVID hub, and form is like COVID-free zone. If we are really given the choices, experientially speaking, everybody will choose the formless realm. But philosophically, if you learn philosophically, then what are the pros, what are the cons? When you weigh that, it's quite scary to take birth in the formless realm, because once you're there, then that you don't have the physical the problems. Physical problems are not there. All what prompts us to engage in dharma, right? To engage dharma, this is all missing there in the formless realm. So you're just submerged there in the bliss of the meditation for like millions of years, and then when you die, then you will take birth in the lower realms. Yeah, this is what happens. It's very dangerous. And from there, when you come down to lower realms, it's very scary, because your mind, particularly when you take up the formless realm is much better. But formless realm, if you take birth there, then your mind, activity of the mind literally stops to a great extent. And because of when you take birth in the desire realm, then the cognitive activity of the mind is very slow, and then to work on emptiness is far away. It's very dangerous. But if you have the wisdom of emptiness, if you have the renunciation, if you have the bodhicitta, with these three things intact, then the very samadhi of the formless realm, it is not going to be of any problem. So particularly when you reach the path of seeing, there, then you can choose where you are going to take birth. You can choose. Yeah. Are you good? Any questions? Okay, if not, end dedication prayer.
Okay, let's turn to additional dedication prayers, page number 288. Dipeshla, are you there? Okay, I see her. Thank you, Dipeshla. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All-powerful Chandrisik Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra too realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by all the Buddhas who appeared in the 3 times so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. Jang Chu Sem Cho Rim Po Che Ma Ke Pa Na Ke Gyur Che Ke Va Nya Pa Me Pa Yang Kone Kong Du Pe War Shou. May the Supreme Bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into that enlightened state. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 3 times and to the upholding of the Dharma of teaching and realization. May I, in all life, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahayana vehicle and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect view, and the 2 stages. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind to full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. By the power of practicing and supplicating to you, may all be free from sickness, poverty, and conflicts, and may Dharma and the auspiciousness proliferate in all the places where we abide. The path of the union of emptiness and compassion is lucidly explained by the protector of both the Dharma and the beings of the land of snows. You are the lotus holder Tenzin Gyatso. We supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces of humans and non-humans who harbor malice through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas be totally vanquished through the power of the truth of the 3 jewels. In all my life, never separated from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages in the paths. May I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by Arya Manjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings on dependent origination in particular, even at the cost of my life. Tayatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha Tyatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha Tyatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha. Thank you, Dipesh Lord.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Thank you, Dipesh-la.
Thank you. Thank you. See you coming Sunday.